Now, thanks to the NNPC and all hands on deck, the petrol market crisis beginning to taper off. But how much of the downside that we had in the past few weeks affected the aviation sector? The man who is in charge of the Aviation Safety Roundtable, Gabriel Olowo, who is the president, is joining us now to discuss a bit of that. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
We appreciate your coming. Did you fly during the last petrol crisis?
Well, I didn't fly.
You didn't?
I didn't.
But you got industry reports. How bad was it?
Well, it affected not only the roads, it affected aviation tremendously.
Okay.
It did. And then, of course, once there's shortage of fuel, you're going to have a lot of disruption of flight schedules. You're going to have a lot of commotion at the airports.
Petrol was scarce, not jet fuel. Talk to us. Why does the petrol affect jets A1?
Well, the petroleum products, Jet A1 is one of the products that are being imported into this country. It's not only the PMS, Jet A1 inclusive. And rather than the fuelers giving credit to the operators, they were operating on cash and carry basis just the way they do for the road. So it's better you pay your cash now or you don't get fuel, and then your flights are delayed and passengers are eager to travel. So as long as we continue to import everything that we consume, including Jet A1 fuel, we're going to have this crisis.
Very interesting how these keep coming together at the same point. Isn't there a way in which between the NNPC and the major marketers we can begin to de-link this in such a way that you can have the Jet A1 or aviation fuel could have its own trajectory?
It's a shame that Nigeria, we don't maintain our infrastructures. In the past, 20, 30 years back, the hydrants were working right from the seaport to the airport. What happens to the hydrants today? All the hydrants are not working. So when the fuel comes...
The hydrants mean the pipeline?
The pipeline.
That supplies aviation fuel.
That's right.
Jet from Atlas Cove, whatever facility, all the way
to the airport.
Yeah,
straight to the. Yes. How many airports in the world do you see parade all these trucks so much the way we patrol
on
trucks
the highway,
on the highways to the airports? So first and foremost, we must address that situation. We don't need to truck aviation fuel because you stand the risk of a lot of contamination. From this truck to that truck to this truck, you stand the risk of contamination. So our hydrants must begin to work as we're planning our new airports, rehabilitation of our airports, whether we are privatizing, whether we're going to continue the public arrangement. We need to have a very clear focus on what do this government want to do with our airports.
Whose business is it really for these hydrants, the aviation pipeline, from the seaport to the airport?
It should be the responsibility of the fuelers because they are the supplier of the products.
It was the government that built it, isn't it?
Beautiful, yeah, it was government.
Yes, yes. So shouldn't the government get it back on track? Why should it be the marketers?
This is where the problem is. This is the cruise of the matter. Nigeria must get it straight. Must government continue to do all our businesses for us? If government will continue to do all our businesses, we haven't started. I think if we want to privatize, let's privatize. If the oil sector is going to privatize, the guy doing the oil business is going to private business and is supplying us, not the government supplying the aviation fuel. As far as I'm concerned, if Total is supplying me fuel, I want to hold Total responsible. Because if there's an accident tomorrow, I'm not going to call government, you gave me contaminated fuel. I'm going to call Total, your fuel is contaminated, and you are the reason for this accident. So we got to get it straight once and for all. The supplier of the fuel, if it comes through the hydrant or it comes through the truck, you are responsible for what you supply.
So those tank farms that we see on the way to the airport just over there are just lying idle, kind of?
Most of them are idle because when they are not supplying, what are they doing there? 20, 30 years back, they were not there. So who owns them? Why are they there? It's an eyesore to the airport. When you travel around the world, do you see all these kind of tanks approaching the airport? Except the few ones on the tarmac, on the air side. You don't see what you see here in Lagos.
So there are safety issues here?
There are serious safety issues. You stand the risk of contamination. Because if this truck lifts PMS and it goes from there to lift Jet A1 fuel, there is a risk of safety. There are safety issues there. So we got to get it straight.
What do you suggest? Because we're trying to get to the, but let's get back to the business of hydrant. This hydrant. Do you think the oil majors should do it? That is what you say.
Absolutely, I think so. I think so.
The hydrant is there. Why aren't they pumping it? The hydrant
decayed.
I
learned they are decayed. They are not serviceable. Just like the MMA. Let's use MMA as our case study. Studying our airports. MMA is 38 years old. You find a lot of decay. 78, 79, when Murtala Muhammad Airport was operating, there are 2 levels underground park. It's all decayed. The conveyor belts are decayed. So ditto, the hydrants supplying fuel to the tarmac. All decayed. And so if we're going to get it right going forward, because I listened to the discussion on China or no China, the Chinese are building another wing at the airport. Is it government? Is it private? Where is that airport going to be in another 20, 30 years? What is the plan there for fuel? What is the plan for the catering service? What is the plan for hotels? Are we following the master plan? Is there a master plan at all?
For parking?
Yeah, parking, supplies, and all the service providers at the airport. What is the plan?
We would definitely like to know a lot more about what you're doing with the Aviation Safety Roundtable Initiative. In summary, what is it really?
Well, Aviation Safety Roundtable is all about bringing professionals together, brainstorm, and look at issues concerning the sector. Airports, airlines, airside, privatization, public participation, and then we try to synchronize the best ideas and come out with suggestions to government.
Maybe the hydrant issue should be discussed at your roundtable. Have we ever discussed that?
We have done a breakfast meeting where we reflected on safety generally, and hydrant was one of it. Security was one of it.
Maybe we got to do a little more about the hydrant issue. We thank you very much. We need to get that pipeline up and running. Thank you very much for your time early today. Gabriel Lowo, who is an aviation economist and the convener of the Aviation Safety Roundtable, wrapping up the program for us today.